Inflation is a term that you may have heard a lot in the news. But what does it actually mean, and how does it affect your personal finances? Inflation is the general increase in the prices of goods and services over time. It means that the same amount of money can buy fewer things. For example, if the inflation rate is 2% per year, a loaf of bread that costs $1 today will cost $1.02 next year, $1.04 the year after, and so on. Inflation is measured by various indexes, such as the Consumer Price Index, CPI, which tracks the changes in the prices of a basket of goods and services that a typical consumer buys. The CPI is often used to calculate the inflation rate, which is the percentage change in the CPI over a period of time. Inflation is not always a bad thing. A moderate level of inflation, around 2% per year, is considered healthy for the economy, as it encourages spending and investment, and prevents deflation, a general decrease in prices. However, too much inflation, above 10% per year, can be harmful, as it erodes the value of money, reduces the purchasing power of consumers, and creates uncertainty and instability. Inflation can significantly impact your personal finances. Here are some ways that inflation can affect your financial situation, and some tips on dealing with it. How to calculate your personal inflation rate and adjust your budget accordingly. The inflation rate that you see in the news may not reflect your personal inflation rate, which is the change in the prices of the goods and services that you actually buy. For example, if you spend a lot of money on gas and groceries, and these items have increased in price more than the average, your personal inflation rate may be higher than the official inflation rate. To calculate your personal inflation rate, you need to track your spending on different categories of goods and services over a period of time, such as a month or a year, and compare the changes in the prices. You can use a spreadsheet or an app to record your expenses and calculate the percentage changes. Once you know your personal inflation rate, you can adjust your budget accordingly. You may need to allocate more money to the categories that have increased in price and less money to the categories that have decreased in price. You may also need to cut back on some discretionary spending to save money and maintain your standard of living. How to save money on gas and groceries when prices are soaring. Gas and groceries are two of the most essential and expensive items in your budget, and they are also prone to inflation. When the prices of gas and groceries are soaring, you may feel the pinch in your wallet and wonder how to save money on these necessities. Here are some tips on how to save money on gas and groceries when prices are soaring. Shop around for the best prices. Use apps or websites to find the cheapest gas stations and grocery stores near you. You can also use coupons, discounts, and loyalty programs to save money. Plan ahead and buy in bulk. Plan your meals and snacks ahead of time and make a shopping list to avoid impulse buying. Buy in bulk when items are on sale and store them properly to prevent spoilage. You can also cook in large batches and freeze the leftovers. Reduce your consumption and waste. Drive less and use public transportation, carpooling, biking, or walking whenever possible. You can also improve your gas mileage by maintaining your car, inflating your tires, and driving smoothly. For groceries, buy only what you need and avoid throwing away food. You can also grow your own herbs, vegetables, and fruits, or join a community garden or a food co-op. Substitute or make your own. When the prices of certain items are too high, you can substitute them with cheaper or homemade alternatives. You can also swap recipes and ingredients with your friends, family, or neighbors. How to deal with rising mortgage and rent costs during inflation. Mortgage and rent are usually the largest and most fixed expenses in your budget, and they can also be affected by inflation. When the prices of housing are rising, you may face higher mortgage or rent payments, which can strain your cash flow and limit your savings and investments. Here are some ways to deal with rising mortgage and rent costs during inflation. Refinance your mortgage. If you have a mortgage, you may be able to lower your interest rate and monthly payment by refinancing your loan. However, you need to consider the closing costs, the length of the loan, and the impact on your taxes before refinancing. You can use online calculators to compare your options and see if refinancing makes sense for you. Negotiate your rent. If you are renting, you may be able to negotiate your rent with your landlord, especially if you have a good relationship and a good rental history. You can ask for a lower rent, a longer lease, or some perks, such as free parking, utilities, or maintenance. You can also offer to pay in advance, make some improvements, or refer new tenants to your landlord. Downsize or relocate. If your mortgage or rent is too high for your income and lifestyle, you may need to downsize or relocate to a cheaper or more affordable place. You can sell your house and buy a smaller one or rent out a room or a part of your house. You can also move to a different neighborhood, city, or state where the cost of living is lower. However, you need to weigh the pros and cons of moving, such as the moving costs, the quality of life, the job opportunities, and the social network. How to invest wisely and diversify your portfolio in an inflationary environment. Inflation can erode the value of your money and your investments, especially if they have low or fixed returns. For example, if you have a savings account that pays 1% interest per year and the inflation rate is 2% per year, you are actually losing 1% of your purchasing power every year. Therefore, you need to invest wisely and diversify your portfolio in an inflationary environment to protect your wealth and achieve your financial goals. Here are some tips on how to invest wisely and diversify your portfolio in an inflationary environment. Invest in assets that can beat inflation. Some assets can provide higher returns than inflation, or even benefit from inflation, such as stocks, real estate, commodities, and gold. However, these assets also have higher risks and volatility, so you need to do your research, understand your risk tolerance, and diversify your portfolio accordingly. Invest in inflation-protected securities. Some securities are designed to protect your principal and interest from inflation, such as Treasury inflation-protected securities, TIPS, which adjust their value and interest payments based on the CPI. You can also invest in inflation-indexed bonds, which pay a fixed interest rate plus the inflation rate. However, these securities may have lower returns than other assets and may be subject to taxes and fees. How to protect your purchasing power and plan for retirement amid inflation. Inflation can reduce your purchasing power and your standard of living, especially in the long term. This can affect your ability to meet your current and future needs and wants, such as education, healthcare, travel, and retirement. Therefore, you need to protect your purchasing power and plan for retirement amid inflation to ensure your financial security and happiness. Here are some ways to protect your purchasing power and plan for retirement amid inflation. Increase your income and savings. One of the best ways to protect your purchasing power and plan for retirement amid inflation is to increase your income and savings. You can ask for a raise, get a promotion, start a side hustle, or create a passive income stream. You can also save more money by spending less, budgeting wisely, and automating your savings. Delay your retirement or work part-time. If inflation is high and your savings are low, you may need to delay your retirement or work part-time to supplement your income and preserve your savings. Working longer can also increase your Social Security benefits, which are adjusted for inflation every year. However, you need to consider your health, happiness, and lifestyle before postponing your retirement or working part-time. In conclusion, inflation is a complex and dynamic phenomenon that can affect your personal finances in various ways. By understanding the causes and effects of inflation and applying the tips and strategies discussed in this article, you can protect your purchasing power and plan for retirement amid inflation. Remember, inflation is not something to be feared, but something to be prepared for.